Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tara and Tats. And, okay, the movie that I want to talk about today is from 2021. It is Black Friday. Now, this movie, if I had to sum it up in one word, it would have to be underwhelming. I know that's probably going to be a shock, but yeah, this movie, it's okay, but I really wouldn't. Well, let's go ahead. We'll get into it. So, of course, obviously, the movie being called Black Friday, it takes place on Black Friday, and you have Ken, who is played by Devon Sawa here, who you'll remember. He's right now he's on the Chucky TV series, but also you'll remember him from movies like Final Destination. You'll remember him from, excuse me, sorry, Final Destination. You'll remember him from Idle Hands, movies like that. So he plays Ken, and he's a divorced dad, and he's taking his kids to his mother's so that they can have Thanksgiving. His kids don't really want to. They don't really want to go with the mom. They want to stay with him. So obviously he's a good dad. So that's plus for his character. But he ends up taking them to their mother so they can spend Thanksgiving. He has to go work on Black Friday and everything. And what he doesn't know is that meanwhile, an alien creature has landed to Earth and is starting to. It has this is like this kind of. It's hard to explain what it is, but it has like this white thing that like shoots out, and it hits you. Like it hits you on the mouth, and then it injects like an alien creature into you, and then you end up changing, and you end up becoming a zombie-like creature, kind of like this here, and then you start going attacking people and you know biting them, scratching them, whatever else, turning them into these alien zombie creatures, and then you know they look for more, and the whole thing just kind of multiplies and everything. So anyway, so that's going on. Well, anyway, he goes to his job and at a store called We Love Toys, and he's got your little assorted cast of characters here. There are a few more, but you got Michael Jai White, you got Ivana Baquero, who you'll remember from Pan's Labyrinth. Bruce Campbell here, front and center, playing Jonathan, and what was his name? Ryan Lee from Super 8. And so they're getting ready. None of them want to be there. They're miserable as can be. Well, all except for Bruce Campbell's character, Jonathan. Jonathan, he's another show that this definitely reminds me of is Superstore. If you ever seen the show Superstore, this movie definitely has kind of a. It definitely feels almost like a horror, almost like a Halloween version of Superstore, if that makes any sense. But anyway, Jonathan, he's kind of the guy, like, his character is like, he doesn't really have family. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's kind of a loner. And so kind of work is his life, you know. So he's the only one who's happy to be there. And he's happy to, even though, like the corporate, they expect him to make so much money on Black Friday and everything. And he's kind of pushing he's pushing his workers. And one thing I hate to say, Jonathan does end up, because he's so devoted to to the corporation and everything else. Bruce Campbell's character is a little bit of a scumbag in this movie. It's like, because he's wanting to kind of sell out the workers just to appeal to the corporate bigwigs. And, I mean, even like even in the movie, they're talking, like, okay, well, this year is supposed to be the same like every year. We work our Black Friday, then when we get off at the end of our shift, we get our Christmas bonuses. Well, one thing like Jonathan is not telling them is that corporate decided to cut their Christmas bonuses, but he's not going to tell them that because he knows that if they find this out, also too, they're not getting holiday pay. So he's kind of hiding all of this stuff and kind of being very, deceiving about it. And so he knows, like, well, if I tell them all this stuff, then yeah, they're not going to want to work and all this. So I got to kind of hide it from them. But eventually they start to find this out. So if there is kind of there's another character. I forget the character's name, but if there was kind of a character who's kind of like a human antagonists in this movie, kind of Bruce Campbell will kind of be it. He's kind of like the human bad guy in a way. But anyway, so they start. Finally Black Friday opens up. They get the stores open and everything else, and then before you know it, all hell breaks loose, and these zombie alien creatures are running amok, and just wreaking havoc and killing people and infecting people, turning them all into these alien zombie creatures and everything. And then they're trying to, oh god, it's kind of hard to explain. Andy the Maniacal Cinephile did a much better review of this than what I'm doing here. But anyway, so they're trying to basically form this kind of big giant blob of consumers and stuff. And so you could definitely tell the movie is definitely going for a satire on consumerism and capitalism and things like this. And it's turning into this big monster and everything. And it's supposed to reflect, consumers and how vicious people can be on Black Friday and things like this. So you can definitely tell it's going for some social commentary in it. And so our little band here has to, get together and put aside their differences and fight the alien zombie creatures and pretty much save the day. So that's kind of your movie in a nutshell. Like I said, the movie is pretty underwhelming in many, many aspects of it. I will say the creature effects by Robert Kurtzman are really well done. You could tell this is a low-budget movie, but even for a low-budget movie, you could definitely tell that Robert Kurtzman, he did the best he could with what he had. And I don't think, personally, I don't think that his special effects disappoint. I would say that's probably one of the highlights of this movie. The acting, pretty much for the most part, is really good. Devon Sawa is a likable guy. His character is kind of his thing is, he loves his kids first and foremost, so that, that's definitely a plus for his character. But at the same time, he wants to be romantically involved with Ivana Baquero's character. And they've been, intimate with each other and stuff like that. But, he wants to, Ken's a good guy, he wants to respect her and he wants to treat her right, and he's talking about he's like, yeah, he's like, I want to start taking you on dates and things like this. And I want to, and at one point she talks about, she's like, you got 2 kids. I've never even met your kids. He's like, I want you to meet my kids. And, he's like, I want to take you out on dates. It's like, hey, for example, when we get off work, let me take you out and buy you breakfast. I'll buy you pancakes, things like this, So he's a good guy, but kind of like everybody in the store kind of looks at him as he's the, sorry, allergies. He's the pathetic, he's like the pathetic middle-aged guy who's going through a midlife crisis. And, he's, he's like the older guy who's trying to hit on the younger girls and stuff like this. And so, kind of everybody lets him know they're not particularly fond of him, but even still, he is a good, he is the guy who's oh, you're the kind of guy, you're a middle-aged guy who can't accept the fact you're not in high school anymore and you're still trying to play Mr. Cool and all this kind of stuff. And I already told you about Bruce Campbell's character, Jonathan. Ryan Lee's character, what was it, Chris, I think? His biggest thing is he's a germaphobe. He's very, he at one point he's put on to work the register and there's goop or something on the register keys and he can't, and he just kind of completely freezes up. He can't do it. But he has to kind of overcome that. And everybody keeps, and the big thing everybody keeps telling him is dude, you're better than this. You're better than, just being a registered jockey in a toy store and everything else, man. You got potential, go on, you could do great things with your life and things like this. And Michael Jai White, he's a maintenance man. That's it. That's all I can say about it. That's one of the reasons why I say this movie is underwhelming. Okay, you got Bruce Campbell, and you got Michael Jai White, 2 really good actors, and you really give them nothing to do. That's one of the things that irritated me the most about this movie. Okay, Michael Jai White. Now, we all know Michael Jai White from Spawn, but we also know, he's done movies like Blood and Bone, and he's a kickboxer. He knows kickboxing, he knows martial arts and everything else. They he can do all these things. And so you could have had some really great, set pieces in this movie. You really could have had him, like, kickboxing these alien zombie creatures or whatever else. You could have had him using martial arts and everything else. Instead, he's just there, and they really do nothing with him. And to me, that's really sad. That's talk about pissing away your resources, man. And the same thing with Bruce Campbell. Now, I understand that Bruce Campbell, he's too old to do the physical stuff. He can't really like be Ash anymore. He can't handle the physical aspect of it, or at least he says he can't. But here's the thing, it's like, kind of the thing about this is like, okay, you know how like in Ash versus Evil Dead or even Army of Darkness, he starts off as kind of like the chicken shit kind of, coward character who has, I'm sorry, I know I'm stammering a lot and everything. It's just I'm trying to, figure out trying to explain what I want to explain. But just, he, in like Ash versus Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, he starts off as kind of like the coward, kind of the chicken shit, but eventually he finds his strength and is able to finally get up some cojones and fight the evil forces and stuff like that. In this movie, he starts off as like the coward, kind of a chicken shit character, and he just kind of stays there. He starts to become a little bit more helpful, a little bit more progressive, but not by much, So yeah, that was one of the things that was really irritating about this movie is just that you have two really good actors. You could have done a lot with them. Even if Bruce Campbell couldn't have done the physical stuff, they could have, they could have given him some great one-liners. They could have, it's like, okay, maybe, he could have been a much more helpful, more of an ally kind of a character, stuff like that. They could have just done more with him. And especially Michael Jai White. I mean, like, he is so wasted in this movie. And another thing that is wasted in this movie is the toy store setting. You could have done, like, some really fun stuff. You could have really just went balls out. And you could have had, like, to fight the zombie alien creatures and stuff like that, you could have had them they could have done some wacky kind of almost like Home Alone type stuff with the toys and everything. They could have set traps and they could have, done all this stuff to fight off, the alien zombie creatures and stuff. I mean, they have such a, they had such potential there, and it's kind of like they just really didn't use it at the best, and just, oh man. And just like I said, just this movie that's kind of the thing. It's just, it had the potential to be a lot more than what it really is. And one thing I kind of hate is that they do kind of try to trick you into making you think you're going to see something Evil Dead-like. And what I mean by this, okay, like right here on the cover, you got Bruce Campbell front and center, right? Then if you look at the font for Black Friday, you notice the font is pretty similar to like what you see on Ash versus Evil Dead, right? So maybe it's just me, but it does kind of seem like this movie is trying to like mentally trick you into thinking you're going to see something very similar to like Evil Dead or Ash versus Evil Dead, and it's not anything like that. But I would just say, I know I'm kind of just, ragging on this movie a lot. Is it a terrible movie? No. Is it a great movie? No. I would just say, like, if, I'm not saying don't watch this movie. I'm just saying manage your expectations. Don't really go in there thinking you're going to see something, amazing. A lot of, there's humor in this movie and stuff, but don't go in thinking you're going to see, like, a lot of comedy, a lot of great, a lot of great, like special effects set pieces and stuff. There are some stuff, but don't expect Bruce Campbell to get in there and steal the movie. He doesn't. Like I said, they really give him nothing much to do except kind of be like the human antagonist. Michael Jai White, man, I mean, look at that. He looks like he's a badass, and he looks like he's going to kick some ass in this movie, and they literally really give him nothing to do. And so, Devon Sawa, he's a good character. He's fun. Ivana Baquero, she's a, she's a good character and everything else. But I would just say, go ahead and watch it. Just really manage your expectations. Don't go in thinking that this movie is going to really be like the new kind of Evil Dead or anything like that. It's really not. So, but yeah, I think I've ragged on this movie long enough. So, but yeah, like I said, check it out. Don't don't expect anything amazing from it. Anyway, so that's going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week, and I'm the I'm the Saturday reviewer. Sorry, I just woke up maybe like half an hour ago. I'm the Saturday reviewer, and we have different guys. Everybody's doing great stuff, and that's it. So take care, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.